I'm Lori from Gardens Buffalo Niagara, and today I'm going to take you to meet Ann McCooey of the Black Rock Riverside Alliance so that we can learn about the Habitat Project. They started the Habitat Project last summer, and the idea is to have a critical mass of garden spaces, green spaces in Buffalo be certified habitat through the National Wildlife Federation. It generally takes about 3 years to establish that critical mass, but we, a gardening city always, have almost achieved the goal within the first year. So we are 3/4 of the way there, and I can't imagine we won't be able to accomplish that. And once we are a habitat city, we'll be the second largest in the state of New York, and I think the 15th largest in the country. But we'll learn more from Ann.
Hi everybody, I'm Ann McCooey from the Black Rock Riverside Alliance, and we're here today to talk about the Habitat Project. The easy way to do that is to make sure that you have a water element in your garden.
So
I happen to have bird baths. We just had one of our neighbors actually in there taking a bath. You want to have some form of cover. I have bushes as well as trees, so we do find birds nesting up in here, and we do have nest boxes, but they seem to prefer their natural nesting. Food is always in this yard, natural types of food, so I have blackberries and I have berry plants that the birds will use. We do put hummingbird feeders up, but rarely do we see hummingbirds. They kind of migrate through. My yard is just not hummingbird friendly, but that's okay. And what else am I missing, Ann? Anything?
A place to raise your own, so
Yep, we have birdhouses and the trees.
So and then using sustainable practices.
Sustainable practices. Our garden is not perfect. It's not always weed free, but that's okay. We do a lot of hand gardening, and we've learned to allow the garden to kind of lead with what it wants to be. So many years we have things popping up, and we've now learned that whatever it wants to be, it tells us and we respond. There's no point in trying to get rid of all of the grass and all of the little weeds. It's not worth it. And it's not good for the environment, and it's not good for us. I mean, we're in the garden a lot, so we want to make sure that it's a healthy place for us as well.
So
Are interactive, they spin around. They were done by Justin Dahl. He's a Riverside resident and is graduated in height, so they can start at the low end and walk their way up for some exercise. It can also be used as seating when we start doing community events here in the circle. The section over there is going to become a habitat. We're working with a landscape architect right now in designing what that's going to look like. And then, of course, we have the beautiful trees and pathways, and we really hope to be able to start using this space as community meeting space and activity space once we have some restrictions lifted. We also have a little free library where we put a lot of our seeds for our seed giveaways. We've done 2 different seed giveaways so far this year.
So this is one of the smallest habitat parks or habitat areas, certified habitats in the city. And it is a traffic triangle. We have trees, of course, and some native plants. Some asters were planted. And up here is a water source,
Which flows naturally from the rain.
filled by rain. And here we have roses, some plants, and it's all in the middle of a couple of streets.
So this is our Dearborn Street Garden. It's at the corner of Dearborn and Hamilton. And this garden is also a certified habitat. It's our community garden. It's actually one of the oldest community gardens in the city of Buffalo, and it was the first one that we put in about 9 or 10 years ago. We have, again, similar to Farmer, we have our flower beds in the front, in the corners for beautification. And then we also have a couple of statues that were done to commemorate various activities that have happened here in the gardens, because gardens are community green spaces, not just community growing spaces. And the two statues that are in here were done by the folks down at Griffiths, and are really just beautiful reminders of what you can do when you get community together. So this garden has been growing for quite some time. We left a lot of the things that were already in here that were going to be beneficial to producing food and to producing good ecosystems. We have bushes for cover for birds and for other critters. Last year we had we had bunnies that were nesting inside of our bushes. And we always try very hard not to disturb them. We have birds that are nesting in our pine trees. We have apple trees. We're also growing pumpkins annually. We have strawberry patch that the birds seem to get to before the neighborhood kids can get to, and that's okay too. We have our grape arbors, where we have 3 different varieties of grapes growing on the arbors, and again, they provide shade for people visiting the garden, but they also provide a great source of food for our birds, as well as our red. The bees that come into this part of the garden are very, very, very abundant, which is always a good sign, and we don't mind at all. And we've been trying to work really hard with the neighborhood kids so that they're not afraid of the bees, but they're very respectful of the bees. And they understand that without the bees, we probably wouldn't get the food production that we get. Then we have our 2 bigger beds, our 2 big planting beds, and these are for produce. We use the centers for our flower displays. Right now we've got our lilies coming up. Earlier in the year we had daffodils and tulips on display in them. Right now the first ring is all lettuce. We thought we lost it all after the hailstorm 2 weeks ago, but it has rebounded with a vengeance. A beautiful assortment of mixed grains in here, all started from seeds. So if anybody needs greens, it's ready to be harvested here at the Dearborn Street Garden. And then everything else has been recently planted and seems to be doing really, really well.
Yeah, and you have impressive food production from your community gardens.
We do. We've been doing a lot of food production. Our 2 community gardens in Black Rock produce about 700 pounds of produce annually. Our one in Riverside does about 250. And that feeds a lot of people. We even put farm stands up in our 2 Black Rock gardens because we have a lot of new to the community members, and some of them are coming from different cultures and different countries, and they don't understand the concept of a community garden. So in order to keep them from being too shy to walk in and cut their own produce, any extra produce as it's being harvested we leave on the farm stand, and that way they can just walk by and take it without feeling like they're intruding in somebody's private space.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So hi, we're here in Black Rock at our Farmer Street Garden. It's called Farmer Garden. And the reason it's called Farmer Garden is because this used to all be kind of the border of the city of Black Rock, or the village of Black Rock, back in Erie Canal days. And the farmers who lived in Kenmore and Tonawanda and the northern part of the community would bring their livestock through here to take them over to the canal for slaughter and sale to the canal barges. This is Brocky. Brocky was part of our Kaboom Play Everywhere grant, and we decided a pig, and most people ask us why a pig, because they expect to have a buffalo statue in the community space in the city of Buffalo. But we wanted to do a pig because this part of our community was referred to as the pig path. Farmers who lived in the north areas, which are now Kenmore, Tonawanda, North Tonawanda, would bring their livestock through a dirt path over to the Erie Canal for slaughter, and then sell sell to the canal barges that came down, because we were the last stop. The Black Rock stop was the last stop before the terminus of the canal at downtown Buffalo. Sure, the basic elements for a certified habitat are in our community green spaces, because we feel it's important. We want to continue to encourage the wildlife, because we know how important that is, not only just for the environment in general, but also for our food production. And since our community gardens are all about food production, that's important.
So I see the raised beds over here.
We have our raised vegetable beds, which just got planted. Variety of things there. Our 2 herb beds will get taken care of next week, so we can grow some herbs for everybody. We have a ton of fruit trees, which not only provide food for the birds, but they also provide food for the community. And so in here we have a variety of native trees that have been planted. We even took seeds from this Franklin Street sycamore tree, which is the oldest tree in the city of Buffalo. We planted them 7 years ago, and last year we took 25 trees out of here and put them in other community parks and green spaces throughout the city of Buffalo. We know that they have it's a great tree stock to be coming from. For this one to qualify, really, we have a water source with our bird bath. Most of the community green spaces, the only thing we had to add was some type of a water source. We have food sources with our berries and our fruits, and our flowers that are growing in our corner beds, places to raise young. We do have 3 birdhouses which were taken down when we did the replanting, and they will be going up in the next little while. And we almost always have inhabitants in those birdhouses. And then we need to make sure we're using sustainable practices. And so we do have rain barrel collection in all of our community gardens. And then we never use pesticides, because not only is it not good for the environment, but it is also not good if you're going to be eating things that are being grown in that place. So this garden is one of the certified habitats in the community, and it was actually the first community green space that we certified when we started this project back in May. The nice thing about what we're doing with the Habitat Project is we're working collaboratively with a lot of other organizations, because this isn't just the Alliance doing it. You know, Mary Ann said to me 2 years ago, did you know the National Wildlife Federation had a habitat certification, and I bet your yard would qualify. So she said, can you look into it for us? So I looked into it, and sure enough, my backyard qualified with no alterations needed. And then she asked me to do a talk during our spring speaker series, which is always on environmental topics, which I did. And at the talk, I challenged the people that were in audience to certify their own yards as certified habitats. And out of the 30 people that were there, 12 of them certified their yards. And I thought, oh, this is great. People love this project. And then I looked into it further, and I saw that the National Wildlife Federation also had a project where you could certify a community. So my first reaction was, let's get Black Rock and Riverside certified as a habitat community, because there's only 2 in New York State, 2 communities that are certified as wildlife habitats. There's 2 more that are registered. And then as I looked further into the requirements of registering a community as a habitat, I realized that it's based on points on population. And Black Rock and Riverside are highly populated. They're very heavily and densely populated. So we would have needed like 240 or 50 points to certify just Black Rock and Riverside. And if I wanted to certify the city of Buffalo, I only needed 400 points. So I said to my board, do you mind if we try to certify the whole city of Buffalo? Even though it's out of our footprint, we only service the northwest corner of Buffalo. Let's certify the whole city. And they said, well, what does that mean? And what it means is we will be, when we complete certification, which will be in the next probably 2 months, we will be in the top 20 of the largest community certified habitat communities in the country. And that's counting, including cities like Seattle that are certified, that are even more populated than we are. So we're in great company. It also means we will be the largest one in New York State. The National Wildlife Federation has asked if we would then go to Rochester and Syracuse and Albany and tell them how to do it, so they can get on the bandwagon as well. But what it really means for our community is that this shows that Buffalo as a whole cares about the environment, cares about wildlife enough to take the time to make sure that we are providing an environment that is not only good for the neighborhood and the quality of life that we all have, but it's good for the quality of life for the wildlife that is natural to us. And that is so important. And there are so many environmental groups out there that will benefit from this designation by being able to say, my whole city cares about this. We've gotten to see some examples of what certified habitats look like. Everything from large community gardens to private green space in somebody's yard. I want to just take a couple of minutes and once again go over how you can get your yard certified and what you get for certifying, because there are rewards to it as well. So first you can go to the National Wildlife Federation website, and it's nwf.org, and if you do add in the word /certify, you will go right to the certification information. Really easy. This is the checklist that you can download to go through your garden first before you go online to certify it. And it basically tells you what you need. So you need to provide food and water and cover for wildlife, places for them to raise their young, and it can be, a grassy area where bunnies can make burrows. It can be trees for nest building. It can be a birdhouse. And then what sustainable practices are you using? Are you using rain barrels to catch your rainwater and reuse it so it doesn't go into the drainage systems? Are you, stopping the use of any pesticides or chemical spraying in your community, in your green space? So those all count. So go through the checklist, and once you know that you've got all of the elements, you go online to the NWF Certify section. You click on that, and you fill out basically the exact same information there. And there is a $20 fee to certify your property as a habitat. But for that $20, you get a beautiful certificate that says you have a wildlife habitat and you are officially certified. Certification is good for up to 5 years before you have to recertify. You also have the opportunity to purchase things like this sign, or even nicer ones if you've got a great place to put them, to tell everybody about your certified wildlife habitat. My family laughs that I put my garden flag that says I'm a wildlife habitat in my backyard, is in my backyard, and they swear that the animals can read it because now I have a family of groundhogs that come and visit every morning and every night, not to mention the bunnies and the fox and all the birds and all the bees. It's a great way just to show off that you're part of this movement and that you care. The other thing you get a membership in the National Wildlife Federation. The Wildlife Federation has been around forever, and they're doing all kinds of wonderful programs about retreeing and really just wanting to get individuals involved in the whole environmental and conservation areas. You'll get their great newsletters into your email on a regular basis with wonderful tips and helpful hints and even just updates on what's going on. You'll also get their magazine, which is absolutely spectacular and beautiful, and you'll have access to all kinds of educational materials that they produce as well. So really worthwhile for your $20, and it's a one-time fee. You don't have to donate again until you recertify at the end of 5 or 6 years if you want to do it, but so worthwhile. And you're helping the environment, and you're also helping the city of Buffalo reach that certification status, which is going to be so important to us in the future.
Right. And again, we just got Ramsar designation, and we're an important bird area. So ecologically, we're a very important place.
And it makes sense. And we're very fortunate here in Black Rock and Riverside because we are on that Ramsar designated site. The Niagara River is our neighbor, and we get to see all of the amazing and incredible birds that come through, especially during migration season, which is earlier in the spring. We have swans out on the Niagara River. We have eagles, we have hawks, we have egrets. We have so many. Ramsar, when you think about it, it took years and years and years to get that certification for the Niagara River corridor, but it is an international designation, and there are only 44 designated Ramsar sites in the world. and we have it right in our backyard. I can't stress how important it is for the people of Western New York to understand and really truly appreciate and know what we have going, and to take steps to continue to preserve the wildlife that helped us get that designation and set us apart from other places anywhere in this country.
Right. And we can all participate in that with our community gardens and with our home gardens.
Absolutely. And it's easy. It really is. I mean, it takes 15 minutes to download the checklist, go through your yard, get back online, and sign up for certification.
The Black Rock Riverside Alliance has been a not-for-profit that was developed about 2010. It's an important part of our neighborhood because it supports the quality of life for our communities, and we represent 4 communities in Northwest Buffalo. We specifically have and support our community gardens, which provide food to the neighbors. We also have a native Niagara planting area, which brings native plants back into our community and into our habitats. And we are doing all types of education on environmental awareness and how to keep your community and your yard an environmentally friendly place.